Let me ask you to picture this. You are sitting in the office on Friday afternoon, thinking of the drink waiting for you at a friend's barbecue, an art exhibition, a party, a sports game, or the weekend trip you have planned for you and your family. You sit at your desk as minutes pass like hours. Now, let's be honest to yourself. Did you feel this way last Friday? Yes? No? Maybe? Status complicated? If your answer is no, did you feel this way last 3 months, at least once? Probably yes. But hey, no reason to worry about. I get it. Even I, as a business owner and entrepreneur, feel very often the same on Friday afternoons. And you and me, believe me, we are not alone. This data is from a comprehensive study on productivity, which included 10 developed countries like US, Germany, Great Britain, and the highly productive Switzerland. And it confirms what we all more or less know. Friday afternoon is universally the least productive time of the week. So now you already might ask yourself, why is this guy standing in front of me and speaking about something that we obviously already know? Well, one reason is my mom. She always wanted to see me on a big stage like this, so përshëndetje në unë, faleminderit për këtë mundemin që e ke dhënë për mua e për familjen. S'm dal pi haku asnjëherë. The other reason why I'm standing here in front of you today is strongly connected to this. In spring 2017, I stumbled across this article. This research in the article done by British Airways again says what most of us experience very often. We switch off on Friday afternoon. While reading this, I really had to smile, and I thought to myself, well, if that's the case at British Airways, it will be hardly any different in my company or any other company for that matter, if I, as the business owner, feel like this. I don't even dare to calculate all those unproductive hours on a global scale and the lost potential behind them for our society. So I asked myself, how can I use this inefficient time on Friday afternoons more meaningfully for my team and the society as a whole? The answer to this question was what I call Social Friday. What does it mean? Very simply, it means 2 easy steps. Firstly, and by far most importantly, willingness to do good. Secondly, choosing a beneficial cause, and already you are set to experience a totally different kind of Fridays. So, no science behind doing good. Allow me to explain some of the dots that we can connect with Social Friday and why it's absolutely right to question the status quo of how we want to spend our Fridays. Here's what changed for me. Fast forward a few months after the idea of Social Friday was born. It's Friday, 1st December 2017, and I'm running through my mental to-do list while standing at some traffic light in Skopje, back then the capital of Macedonia. Later that day, my team and I are waiting outside the door on our first visit to the SOS Children's Village. We have supported this cause financially, but this is the first time we are meeting the people we are supporting, and it should prove to be an event that would set a lot of things in motion. Standing in front of the door, I hear the buzz of excitement before I enter the room, but as I open the door, the noise completely dies down, like in Kindergarten Cop when Arnie enters the classroom. I notice the questioning faces of the children looking up at me, something like, hey, what's wrong with this guy? How comes he looks even more gray than the weather outside? I mean, that reaction was like a cold shower to me, and within seconds, I finally realized that it's probably better to leave my to-do list outside the room and devote my full attention to the kids in front of me. Around 30 minutes after we were introduced and everyone was busy with handcrafting activities, the noise level, the laughter, and the pure joy of life outshone the event, and I start to ask myself the following question. How can I allow myself to be preoccupied in the presence of these children? How can I be anything but profoundly grateful for everything I'm blessed with, starting with a full fridge, good health, lovely family, interesting work, great friends, priceless freedom and opportunities to travel? I mean, let's face it and be realistic. Most of these kids in front of me will never have these chances. Interesting. Do you notice at this point the change of perspective within just 30 minutes. It will get even more interesting. The longer the event goes on and as the end approaches, I find myself asking more questions like, what have we achieved? And how are we going to make long-term improvements in the lives of these children? These can't just be good PR for my company. And most importantly, is this enough social engagement? Many questions. And for most of them, I admit I had no answers. Except the last one. Of course it's not enough. It's just a small social engagement to play a few hours with unprivileged children. And believe me, while you realize that, you feel helpless and super frustrated, having so many questions and almost no answers. But that's exactly the moment where things, and in particular, this initiative called Social Friday, starts to get very interesting. What would the world look like if many more people in my position asked themselves these questions at regular intervals? Now, some of you might think, why are these questions so crucial? I believe it's a starting point, since I'm absolutely convinced that awareness is the spark plug for change. Only if we are aware of the need do we consider to make a contribution. In other words, how will you solve a problem if you are not aware it exists? A few months later, again in cooperation with our new friends from the SOS Children's Village and people from the broader public, we as a company invited everyone for a barbecue. What a wonderful summer day surrounded by so much positive energy, laughter, games, and the smell of homemade tasty burgers, and for our friends with a more healthy lifestyle of a lot of delicious vegetables and fruits. I do not exaggerate when I say it was a day to remember, but actually the best happened after the event. A few weeks later, a call reached our company's good soul, Leila. Anna, a member of the public who joined our Social Friday, noticed a child with a special talent for makeup. She called us to ask if we can make a connection between her and the SOS Children's Village so she can offer the girl a place on a college course free of charge. A connection between two people made during a barbecue event with life-changing results. What a difference between dreaming about a barbecue on a Friday afternoon and actually having one. Imagine the amount of possibilities at regular intervals if such events were scaled up worldwide. A few weeks later, we were at our next Social Friday at the Dabesky retirement home. On the program was a spray painting session with the inhabitants of this beautifully located residence outside the city. It was sunny on this late summer day, and therefore we were in high spirits until we arrived at the event location and noticed the grumpy faces and skepticism of the residents. Probably completely justified because we disturbed their daily routine of a siesta, and if I was in their position, better not to say what I would have done. But it should develop into a splendid afternoon. After a short introduction and the first spray painting attempts, all the initial skepticism disappeared and such a positive vibe developed that at the end, no one wanted to leave the event. So much laughter, many life stories, beautiful as well as sad, and all in this dreamlike environment. By the way, I call this generation Wikipedia next door. What a social treasure of knowledge and experience that we, unfortunately, do not include enough in our society after a certain age. During this time, some real artworks were created, which were exhibited later on for 2 weeks in the Acanthus Gallery. In order to raise awareness on the issue of age in society, it was also possible to buy the artworks for the benefit of the Dabesky residents. By the way, you can still buy some of these masterpieces. But the reason why I'm sharing this story with you is not connected to share you some artworks or to show you how amazing we are as a company. My point is another one. Can you see how we managed to connect several dots with one move? Business meets social cause meets culture. And all this based on the willingness to use the least productive time of the week more meaningfully for the benefit of all. So, how can we now get people to use this least productive time more meaningfully? I believe in two aspects of human nature we could use to achieve this. Firstly, we humans respond to competition, comparison, loss, reward. These are all gamification elements which are already used by part of the economy to sell even more products. Now, I hear some of you already saying, yeah, but these are exactly few of the ingredients responsible for so much poison on this planet. Agree with you, to a certain level. Since we have to admit that these are also few of the ingredients responsible for our progress as human beings. And like in anything else in life, probably here as well, most challenging question we have to answer is the one about the right balance. Secondly, something can become our habit if we repeat it again and again. How about using these tools to promote social engagement at regular intervals, for example, once every quarter? I'm convinced it's possible and for the benefit of all parties involved, regardless of whether you are an employer, employee, school, student, a major corporation, or an NGO. By the way, the retail industry has their Black Friday. How about your sector having Social Friday? And while doing so, you will increase your visibility and at the same time also the chances for more support and donations. Lastly, this effort would also benefit governments. Any efforts in society to connect people for a good cause should be supported by governments. On these occasions, so much positive energy is created, energy that can do a lot of good and save taxpayers' money. Money that currently is flowing into things like a dystopian-sounding Ministry of Loneliness, among other things. A ministry, by the way, that already exists in Great Britain and Japan. This very serious issue costs just the British economy yearly about £2.5 billion. And is there a better way to tackle loneliness than connecting people? And how about doing so while using the least productive time of the week? Since we know about the benefits of doing social good. This is just one of many folders with research articles I've been reading during the last few years about the benefits of doing social good. And far more important than this, I consider my field experience and analyses during the last 4.5 years actually that do confirm the most of what is written here. We do as well know about the unproductive hours on Friday afternoons. It's time to question this status quo and to use these facts for a better society and healthier economy. It's time to reinvent Fridays together. It's possible.